The last time I told you about the moment everything cracked open for me on episode 1 of season 5. The movie Adolescence wasn't just a film, it really is a mirror about what is happening to boys and young men today. And honestly, I don't like it. It scares me. And we are now seeing a lot of it rise up. I saw a boy dangerously becoming a man with no compass. And it reminded me painfully that if I'm not intentional, my sons could easily end up just as lost. Now, that episode wasn't easy to record, but it was necessary. Really. Now, this episode is about building. We're going to build upon a framework that I'm going to share with you that can hopefully help out our young boys and young men to find themselves and to be part of society. Now, this mental model helped make sense of what it means to raise boys today and to become better men. Now, I follow a few smart and principled people online that are really doing good things for people smartly, and they are still men and women. Now, this is called the 4 Ps. The 4 Ps originated from a lot of sources, but in particular, this comes from Professor Scott Galloway of the Professor G or Prof G podcast. He has several other podcasts out there with Kara Swisher, and I think another one more about markets, the stock market and so on. Those are all great podcasts. Hey everyone, Fred here. I'm interrupting this podcast because I wanted to share this audio clip between California Governor Gavin Newsom and his guest, Professor Scott Galloway, on Adolescence, the movie on Netflix. Check it out.
A little bit all over the place, but have you seen the program Adolescence, Governor?
I didn't have the guts. I started. I kid you not, as a parent, I couldn't do it. My wife watched it. She said, I'm glad you missed it, even though she says you're going to watch it with me. It has to be seen. Apparently, it was powerfully powerful beyond words.
Yeah, it's funny you say that. I did watch it because I think a lot about these issues. I found I had to have a drink before I watched it. It was so rattling.
Yeah.
And the question it orders is, who's raising our kids?
Yeah.
And are you raising your kids, or is the internet raising your kids? And if the internet's raising your kids, who is raising them?
I call this the 4 Ps of fatherhood. You have to be 1, be a protector, 2, be a provider, 3, be a pillar, 4, be a pathfinder. And there is a bonus P. I'll save that for the end. Now, number 1, being a protector. My first role, and every dad, their first role, every parent, is to be a protector. Not just the obvious ways of locking doors, keeping them safe, and making sure that the stove is off when not in use. Those are all important. That has to keep going. But I'm also talking about emotional protection, psychological safety. I have to make sure that my kids can tell me anything and not to shut them down or be ashamed. And that's a tough one, especially when you have teenage boys like myself. It's so hard for them to go beyond, how is your day? Fine. Okay. Good. Yada, yada, yada. So I have to ask better questions, open-ended questions. That is for them. So I can find out what they're thinking, what's going on in their lives, so I can come in and help out or at least share some wisdom with them. My oldest is really into the Cold War history between the United States and the Soviet Union, democracy versus communism, imperialists versus commies. Luckily for him, I love history too. I remember when I was in 6th grade, 7th grade, 8th grade, and so on, I used to go to the libraries, several of them, with my friends to study, most likely to either to do homework, but also to hang out with some of the girls there as well back in the day. But I always found myself wandering into the history section, and I was all into the World War II, Douglas MacArthur era, like a lot of Filipino Americans are. A lot of Filipinos love Douglas MacArthur. But history is a way to connect with my son. He definitely is a pro-American for sure, which is a great thing. But he also understands when I talk to him and I share what's happening in the news, he knows that there's craziness happening today. My job is not to manipulate or influence his thinking. I just want him to be able to think and widen his perspective on things. My youngest son loves basketball. So much so that he wears compression pants under his shorts, basketball shorts, when he goes to school, even when we go out. He wears that every chance he gets. Luckily for him, also, I was an avid NBA fan, go Warriors, and played it a lot in the 80s, 90s, and 2000s. I used to play with my friends, I used to play in the playground, I used to play it every weekend. I even joined a 6 foot and under league, basketball league. A lot of us Filipinos are not that tall. But I loved it, played it a lot from the 80s, 90s, and 2000s. The past 20 years or so, not so much. But I get to connect with my youngest in this way, using his knowledge and my knowledge. And I admit, his knowledge has surpassed mine. He can remember stats from when Rick Barry of the Golden State Warriors won back in the 1970s. He knows a lot of that stuff, which is great because I get to connect with him because I lived through all that. What he is interested in now is history. For him, I lived through that. Just like with my oldest son, the Cold War and the fall of the Soviet Empire and so on. The only difference is that I had to go to the library. I had to read newspapers. I had to read books. Today, my sons, they have access to YouTube, ESPN, and any other online things. They don't have TikTok. We don't do it on social media. The most social media they have is YouTube. And YouTube has a lot of great things, but also there's a lot of things that I hope I can help them discern right, wrong, facts and myths and so on. So being a protector, that's part of it. Connecting with them and then finding ways how I can build their confidence, build their composure, building the courage to come to me and to their mom. I want them to know that they know when to come to us when they're struggling, when they're angry somehow. I want them to be able to fight back, but not always with their hands and feet. But like I mentioned, using their confidence and their composure, when to walk away, being courageous to walk away when not being confronted physically. The second thing, provider. Provider usually means money, right? Putting food on the table, giving them clothes on their backs. So finances. I provide them things that they can, how should I say this? Maybe this provider thing, yes, it's all that, right? Giving them food, giving them clothes. But I think it's also giving them a rhythm, I guess. A rhythm, the attention. I provide them a rhythm. I provide them attention. I provide them a sense of calmness, some wisdom, some kind of structure. Especially when the world is messy and loud and people yelling like crazy, starting fights, a lot of rage. I try to provide them a home, a quiet space. I just don't provide resources. And that's important, but I provide a sense of presence at home. The third P is pillar. Now, what I mean by the third P is pillar is that family means a lot to me. Okay, family means a lot to me. So I have to be consistent. I have to be that pillar that doesn't buckle or collapse because things are getting crazy. Just because things are falling apart, I need to be able to show up. I need to be able to be that person that they can rely on. When things get hard, they can look to me. And that means I have to be strong and be the pillar for my family. But I have to be a strong man, but also a kind man. The fourth P, Pathfinder. Now, it's all about finding a path, not setting a path for my kids, but to clear the path for them. What do I mean by this? I had to show them that when I'm stuck, when I am feeling running in place, not going anywhere, I need to move forward. And how do I move forward? I have to ask a lot of good questions. I have to show them that I have to craft my compass when needed to move forward for all different kinds of situations. So that when they grow and when they face adversity, they can fashion their own compass so they can find their way. So I have to be an example to clear that bush or that brush or the tall grass, to cut through that jungle so that we don't get lost. That includes a lot of courage and wisdom. Not setting out a path that I think that's going to be working for them. When they get older, they have to find their own path. Now, the bonus P. What is this bonus P? So far, we have protector, provider, pillar, and pathfinder. So what goes with this P, this bonus P that I created? Well, I had to give a shout out to my sister Because when we talked about a couple of months ago about values, family values, and how it pushes us forward, we need to be not just all those four things, but have an attitude, some kind of attitude. Now, the four P's, the bonus P, can be prayer, be a pastor, being a philosopher, being a poet, and so on. Those are all great things. But, as my sister says, don't be a punk ass bitch. Don't be a punk ass bitch. I guess the P there is obviously punk, right? This is the part where it pushes me forward, wakes me up. I had to wake up and not be so into my complaints and into my whining. You're allowed to do all that, but you need to wake up. We need to keep going. We need to push forward. So that I can show my sons that what kind of man I have become, so they can become the men they will be one day. This is a part that I had to reflect on when I'm facing problems, when I'm laying on my bed and I'm just thinking and thinking and thinking. I had to say to myself, stop it. Stop being a punk ass bitch. Wake up, do something good, and keep going forward and go back to the four P's. Am I being a punk ass and forgetting to be a protector, a provider, a pillar, a pathfinder? Am I forgetting all that? I had to go back to it. So it's just not about raising kids, raising boys. It's about really raising good men. So they become good fathers. So they become good leaders in whatever thing they do in the future. So again, the four P's are protector, provider, pillar, and pathfinder. And the bonus one, as you know, whatever it is, you can change it the way you want, but for me, is don't be a punk ass bitch. So when life gets noisy, gets messy, gets loud, that's a framework I can use, and maybe it can help you too. So here's my challenge to you. Which of these four P's are you strong in right now? Ask yourself that. And which of the four P's that you need to work on? One more question. What do you call your bonus P if you have one? It doesn't have to be a P. It can be something else. But whatever it is, listen to it. Strengthen it. Do me a favor also. If this episode is useful for you, share it with another dad, a brother, a mentor, or son, an uncle. Heck, I want you to share it with a mom, an auntie. We all need to hear this. And once you hear it, you can form it the way you want. We're all in this together. This is the shield that we need to build so we can build a legacy forward. On the next episode, we're going to take this concept of this episode's shield and we're going to talk about the sword. This is The Beautiful Struggle. I'm Fred. Take care of yourself. And if you can, take care of someone else. Peace.